I have some good news and some bad news on this episode of TFL Talking Trucks.
Well, I know the bad news is that Nathan's not here, Andre.
Yeah, Roman, what are you doing here?
Surprise! Your mother-in-law is visiting. No. I'm here because Nathan is traveling this week.
Yeah.
He is out there grabbing new car reviews and new car reveals.
I think he's grabbing a Santa Fe by the horns.
He is. He's in Santa Fe, covering the new Santa Fe. So if you want to see him introduce that to the world, head on over to alltfl.com. So, Andre, what are we talking about this episode?
Well, there are some good and bad news. And the main topic of this podcast is, are pickup trucks piling up on dealership lots?
Like the good old days.
Like the good old days,
Yes,
where you
exactly.
can walk into a dealer and buy any truck you wanted.
And so we're going to take a deep dive in this episode, talking about kind of, where the state of the new truck market is, because obviously after COVID and after supply chain issues, it got a little crazy out there, right? When I started seeing 100K for pickup trucks, Andre, I started feeling a little woozy.
Yeah, and I think I know where this kind of topic is coming from, because during COVID years, right, most of us would drive by a dealership lot and we would see empty space, right? And that got all of us kind of nervous, right? Because, we were worried about, dealerships going under, the economy, and also a lot of dealers had not their brand that they sell, but every other car there, right? Like used cars, they were doing anything possible to sell vehicles.
Yes, so today Andre did some research, which is nice because there are a lot of videos out there on YouTube where I see YouTubers going out to dealer lots when they're closed and pointing at big piles of trucks and talking about how trucks are now unsellable, or how they're just piling up at dealer lots. And we don't know that, because here at TFL we tried to actually ask people this thing and not just point at things.
Yeah.
I don't mean to disparage other YouTubers, even though maybe I am.
No, but we like to do research. So I did. So I called.
Before you go there,
yeah,
let's hit the truck news first.
Yeah,
I've got some truck news for you, Andre.
I do too.
Okay, so let's hit the news first. First and foremost, after 4 years, and this has happened a while ago, but I think it's still worth discussing. Tesla finally, and I'm doing air quotes if you're listening to this, produced their first Cybertruck.
Well, they announced the start of production.
Yes.
Yes. Is it real?
Well, they published this picture of a Cybertruck surrounded by the entire factory, it looked like. And then if you took a closer look, I was listening to some of the podcasts, it looks like the truck has no doors on it. So they did a very good job of hiding the truck. Is it real? They've got one of the world's largest presses. Mr. Musk himself has said that they're going to be selling them before the end of the year. Is it real? Gosh, I hope so.
So, Tesla and Elon Musk, the CEO, they have a history of this, right? Because, and here's how I look at it.
Not a history of building trucks, but a history of promoting
vehicles that don't exist.
They don't exist.
But
yeah.
once they do exist, once the machine is churning, they really churn out, because in Europe, Model Y is the most popular vehicle.
Yes.
Right?
Worldwide, I think it's now the most popular.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah.
So when the Tesla machine starts working, it may get slow. It's like an old diesel engine, right? It takes a while for it kind of
Good analogy. It's true.
to turn over. But once it warms up, it really, really goes fast.
So let's warm up Cybertruck gossip and start by the price. So as you remember, I got to drive or ride in it when it first came out, and it was a big truck. And the word on the street is that it's much smaller now. It was basically a heavy-duty size truck. I remember standing next to the thing thinking to myself, this ain't going to fit in anybody's garage.
Right, and it's hard to understand the size of it if you're not actually next to it.
If you're not next to it, if you haven't gone to like the Peterson in California where it was, or maybe where it still is, but it's a big honking truck. But the production version, I think, is going to be smaller because obviously, I don't think that many people are comfortable unless it's your daily driver driving heavy-duty trucks, right? They're. By the way, what's the widest? I just did a video where I couldn't think of the widest in terms of feet truck that you can have on, is it 8 feet?
On a highway, it's 8.5.
8.5, okay.
So if you look at semi-trucks, right? Those are determining factors,
yes.
right? The semi-truck is 8.5 feet wide. That's true. This truck does not appear to have a door.
Right. It looks like the door facing the backside of the building
It's taken off.
It's taken off. Yeah.
So the widest thing you could, without a special permit, that you could drive on a highway or a street is 8.5 feet, which is the size of a semi-truck trailer, right? And dualies, like if you had a dually pickup truck, they're approaching that width, right? Maybe within a couple of inches there.
So I used to do a lot of triathlon, Andre, and
Yes.
there's a thing called the limiter in triathlon, the thing that you're bad at, right? Triathlon is obviously swim, bike, run, and the limiter for most people is, what limits their performance or their entry into the sport, either way, is a swim. Because most people can run and a lot of people can bike, but swimming, it takes a little bit of a different skill set, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the limiter for trucks is their width. We have obviously driven all the different sizes. You have driven much bigger trucks than I have, but let's just talk about like compact, easy peasy, right? That's like getting into a small SUV. Doesn't take a lot of like thought when you're parking or thought when you're, pulling into a garage.
Totally.
But when you get to the heavy duty trucks, first of all, they don't fit in many garages.
And they're tall.
They're tall.
Yeah.
And they don't park very easily, right? Because you take up the whole parking space. And so, what I mean by limiter is, if you're thinking about buying a truck and you take a 2,500 for a drive, you're going to be like, this is a big old girl.
Yeah, especially. I mean, even if you're going into a bigger city.
Yeah,
right.
It's just not
Any city. Denver.
You spend a lot of time like thinking about the proportions of the truck, as opposed to like thinking about where you're going or what you're going to be thinking, what you're going to be having for dinner. Because it takes skill and it takes a certain amount of perseverance and I'll say it, courage, right, to drive it, because it can be scary.
So what I would say about a pickup truck like this, or Tesla Cybertruck, or you need to buy it for the use case.
Yes.
Right. If your use case is to show off, that's fine. That's your use case. But for most people who buy pickup trucks and heavy duty ones, they want to put them to work, right? They want to haul stuff. They want to tow trailers. So for those use cases, those trucks are ideal.
And pricing is also going to be a limiter. When it first came out, obviously the price was very low by today's standards, right?
Well, it started at $39,900.
$39,900, which is, what sort of kind of the Ford F-150 Lightning Pro started at.
And GM quoted that originally too.
And how much is the Pro now?
It's now $49,999.
If you can get
it went to $59,900,
yeah,
and then they just decreased the price by $10,000 to $49,000, basically $50,000.
And the GM is like $70,000.
Well, $72,000 now.
Yeah, exactly, for their work truck.
Yes.
So I wonder how many of those, millions of reservations they got, which were, what, $100?
Yes. We have one.
Yeah, we have one.
Yeah.
We're not at the top of the list, but we're somewhere toward the top of the list. I wonder how many of those are going to actually evaporate once, the thing is out there and the price is. And I'm going to be, I think, realistic. I think if they can bring it in under 50, I'll be amazed. I'm thinking more likely it's going to be 60. Because I'm comparing it now to the Rivian, which is more than that, another 20,000 in some ways.
Sure. And usually, if I was Tesla, I would build the fanciest one first.
Yes.
Right, the tri-motor, the quickest, the fastest, the longest range. And when you're talking about performance, like Plaid, right?
Yes.
Plaid performance, that's going to be $100K, probably.
And then Tesla has a way of lowering prices, but you can't do that if the price is already low. So if you start high, then, at the end of the quarter, like they tend to do, they can drop the price and use incentives like, we'll give you free supercharging, and all that is predicated on the fact that the price is relatively high to begin with. You can't drop, if you start at 39, you're not going to drop that thing down to 29. It's just not feasible unless Mr. Musk wants to lose his billions, but I think he's lost enough on Twitter, so maybe he's not ready to lose more money.
You know what I saw on Twitter this morning?
What's that?
I saw a screenshot and somebody scribbled, they wrote on that screenshot, "My Cybertruck is coming at the end of August, 8/31 of this year." And some people are saying Q3, basically third quarter of this year, some people will be getting their Cybertrucks. I have a reservation for TFL.
Yes.
I do not have any, I checked it. I don't have any dates yet. No estimates yet.
Well, there you have it. We don't know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right. Another truck that was recently revealed, which I think is really cool, is the Ineos Quartermaster.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. So Ineos is this new company that actually fulfilled a really interesting hole that was left in the market when Land Rover decided to turn the Defender into more of a urban,
suburban, not suburban.
as opposed to like, a tractor-like solid axle.
Well, it's called progress, Roman. Progress. We want to drive comfortable vehicles.
So Tommy was at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and Ineos dropped the new Quartermaster, which is pretty badass, dude. Look at that. It's that is unlike any other vehicle on the market in terms of its design. In some ways, in terms of its like switchgear, right? It's got these really crazy buttons, and if you want to see that video, go to all TFL. But the interior is just off the hook.
It's almost like airplane-like.
Yeah,
like
it's
the switchgear.
Yeah, it's like they're not buying the stuff that everybody else is buying, right?
Which is good.
They don't have like screens with fake sliders. They have real levers and real buttons and real switches, and a real motor by BMW.
Well, so they are buying stuff from others. So
is there an interior picture of it? Because that BMW shifter looks so out of place in the thing.
Hold on, I'll find it. So what Ineos Grenadier? So first they came out with the SUV, right? And then now they announced their pickup truck. So they stretched it.
So I think it's Ineos Grenadier is the SUV and Ineos Quartermaster is the truck, right?
Or maybe it's a Grenadier Quartermaster.
So maybe it is an Ineos
So you
Grenadier.
attach the Quartermaster designation on the Grenadier. So gosh, they could have come up with a better name for this, but.
So we also have an order for Ineos. Whether we'll end up getting it or not, it really depends on when they come out here in America. But the Quartermaster won't come out until next year.
But they are thinking about bringing it here, right?
Yeah.
But what about chicken tax? I mean, that's my question, because if they're building it in France, because they have they bought a factory from Mercedes in France, and they're building them there, and chicken tax,
25%.
How are they going to import them here?
Yeah, that's why we don't have a reservation for a Quartermaster, but we have a reservation on a regular Grenadier.
Yeah,
which is also not inexpensive. It's $70,000. So you got the interior.
I got the switches.
Yeah, show the switches how cool they are. Look at that. If you're watching this, look behind us. It just disappeared. Don't look behind us until Andre comes back.
Until it comes back, which it won't ever come back.
There you go.
So
look at that switchgear. How cool is that? And look at that BMW gear selector. That looks so wrong.
It looks like a different era.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So the buttons are looking very chunky and big and
very like 1970 Boeing 747.
Yes, and the transmission shifter is a ZF transmission that BMW also uses.
Well, you drove it, Andre.
I only drove it off-road.
Yeah.
I never was able to put it on-road. But off-road, it was really nice and comfy. They air down the tires just a little bit, but it has solid axles front and back. It's very compliant. I was a little concerned because the ground clearance is not that big.
It's 10.3 inches, I believe.
Well, that sounds really good until you actually see it and drive.
Well, if you look at a side shot of it, it looks like it needs bigger tires. And somebody's already put on, I think, it comes with maybe 33s, if I'm right.
I believe so.
And I think somebody's actually fitted 35s, and it looks much better. But I don't know if you can go much better or bigger than that.
Yeah, because the fender openings are kind of small.
But it is solid axle, so theoretically it should be relatively straightforward to lift.
Yeah, with coil springs. So they have pretty fancy, they have lockers.
Yes, front and rear.
Yeah, front and rear. And, once you put really grippy tires on it, and they have an air intake, air snorkel-ish intake.
Yeah, so. I mean, when you go on their website, when I was configuring ours, there's just a lot of cool off-road stuff you could put on it. It's weird because Land Rover, like if you want the rear locker, and when I was configuring our Defender, you have to go and like select this weird on-road package, right? Yeah. That's meant for, and I'm like, why don't you just do a regular off-road locker? I mean, that's what people want, and I think that's the space that Land Rover decided to vacate, and that's the space that Ineos quickly decided to fill, and I think that was a really smart move on their part. Now, in Europe, you can also have it with the diesel, but here we're just going to get that BMW straight six, about 300 horsepower, right?
It's like 290-ish,
Okay.
280-ish, which is fine for a truck or an SUV.
So yeah, we'd love to get one. I can't wait. But as is our way, we want to be one of the first to have it because news is most fresh
When it's new.
when served hot and piping, steaming, and not when it's old and warmed over. So if we have to wait, and the same thing with the Cybertruck, till this time next year, chances are we'll walk away from the reservation if we can get it relatively early.
Oh, so here's a call out to you. If you have a Cybertruck in your driveway, please call us or email us at ask@tfltruck.com.
Yeah, or if you've gotten a notice that your truck is going to be delivered, let us know.
We'll come over.
We'll make you and your truck YouTube stars. We would be so thankful and so grateful to be able to get a truck and actually drive it off road or drag race it or whatever.
Or just show it.
Or whatever you let us. Andre, I think I think the moment has passed in some ways, right? We've kind of gone through the looking glass with COVID, and now I think people are more concerned about just the basics in life. I'm talking about putting food on their table. I'm talking about having a nice home. And I think this kind of like need and moment in time where you wanted the nicest, coolest, most expensive thing is no longer like in the zeitgeist. And so I think that a lot of those Cybertruck reservations, for what you said, are probably going to evaporate, right? Because most people buy trucks for, and I could be wrong. I mean, I could be absolutely wrong. Maybe there's people still want to like show off and want to be the only ones or the first ones on their block to have one. But the thing just does not seem like it's going to be very practical.
Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to predict the future.
It
you
is
know
hard.
what the #1 movie is this week?
Barbie.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's not about the basics of life. It's about having fun, and I don't know. I mean, it's Americana, so it's hard to predict this. I think there's still a lot of people with money. So if they sell the Grenadier for $100K truck, the Grenadier truck, then I think they could sell them because there are still people with money. But most people, when the rubber hits the road, you always tell us we can't afford $50,000 trucks. That's what most people tell us.
Yeah, most in the comments that people, the very first comment whenever we get the Raptor R out in a video is expensive piece of what.
Yeah. Speaking of expensive or not expensive, can I talk about this, please?
Yeah, the all-new Mitsubishi Triton. Tell me about it. I mean, I've seen spy photos. Is it actually coming to America?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to surprise me, Andre. What, Mitsubishi? Mitsubishi, come here. Camera on me. Let's talk, okay? You have been struggling. Let's just be real. You have been struggling to sell cars in America, and recently with the Outlander PHEV, you've got a hit on your hands.
Yes,
but
good job.
Good job. But one car does not, a company make. One truck could a company make because Americans love trucks. So once again, like Volkswagen, don't put off bringing that to America because that will overnight become your best-selling vehicle. And I know, Andre, chicken tax, 25% import duty, but somehow other manufacturers have figured out ways around. That's why that Subaru Brat had those goofy seats in the back. Remember that?
Yeah.
To avoid the chicken tax.
You could remove or install.
I'm not saying you put seats in the back, but good God, bring the truck.
So when I said no, that's our information as of today.
I see in the picture it's right-hand drive, so unless Mitsubishi is planning on bucking this left-hand drive trend in America, that version is probably not coming.
Well, it was announced. It was the world debut happened in Thailand. Our friends at Car Expert Australia,
good guys.
Paul.
They've got great videos, by the way.
Yeah, they do
some really great comparisons. Paul, you're rocking it, man.
How do you compare 11 vehicles?
I know. I saw that video. I was like, just the logistics of that almost made me faint. I was like, I got weak need. I'm like, 11 vehicles. Oh my gosh, where do you park them?
How do you move them?
How many cameras do you need?
Paul, our hat is off today.
I don't. Yeah, we'd have to like hire another 5 people just to move them to wherever we're going to test them.
So Paul did a video about this. It's for Australian markets, it's for Asian markets. I think Mitsubishi collaborated with Nissan actually.
Makes sense. They collaborated on the Outlander. right? That's a Rogue, basically.
Right. So why not Mitsubishi?
Because Nissan's like, you don't dare bring that in and step on our Frontier.
Well, what if they
mid-sized
do bring
truck.
it
It's a
in?
mid-sized truck.
Yeah,
right?
of course. I mean, it could be based largely on the Frontier.
Yeah, it could be.
And if it is, why don't they build it here like the Frontier?
Yeah, it's Smyrna.
With the Frontier.
That's Smyrna.
Yeah.
Right? That's where they built it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I
So
mean, if it worked for the Outlander and it worked for the Rogue, right? Both companies seem to be making money selling those. They're very popular cars. Bring this thing in.
yeah. So
I like that orange interior, by the way.
so and they went. Actually, we saw it testing, right?
And they've been testing it here like crazy.
I know. On the iGauntlet, they were all over Colorado.
Which begs the question: why are they testing something here that's not going to be sold here?
Right. That's very interesting. But anyway, it came out with a diesel engine, which we probably will never get, and it came out with rear drum brakes. So they went back in time, and the new truck has drum brakes now. But I think we're getting back to that simplicity, right?
Grenadier, same thing, right? Switches as opposed to
Switches
screens.
to screens. Yeah.
You know, there was a study recently, and it was like, no kidding, right? Where they said that, I think it was J.D. Power did the study, and they found that most new car buyers hate the amount of technology in their vehicles. And I could have told you, you didn't have to, survey 2,000 or whatever they surveyed people. I mean, we could have told you that, right? Most people are just frustrated and fed up with, having to use a screen to turn their wipers on. I'm talking to you, Tesla.
Exactly. So before we continue with our main topic,
And I know there's a switch, but then you got to go in the thing if you want to adjust the speed. So please save your comments. We are experts here, aren't we, Andre? We understand these things.
we're CDL drivers.
Yes, he has a CDL. I have early Alzheimer's onset.
We are experts.
We are experts.
Yes, thanks.
Only sometimes do we screw up. Hey, you want to go and talk about our Patreons?
Yeah, I would like to thank Patreon. Sorry.
Okay.
And then I want to hit our main topic.
Did you see we had one guy who, did you see this one? He gave us $250.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
How do I see this?
Yeah.
I'm using my app, and I'm seeing that Taouf Chanhuri
Look at
supported
this.
us.
Look at that. Why don't you read out his name and thank him personally?
Oh, this was kind of direct donation.
It's a direct donation to PayPal.
From Kevin Wilson. So Kevin.
Who lives in Boulder, by the way.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin.
So Kevin, thank you very much. So
Very much appreciated.
By the way, I think there's some confusion out there.
Yeah.
Some people I overheard talking think that somehow this podcast is like you have to subscribe or pay for this. You don't.
No, it's free.
We're talking about donations.
Yeah, these are just
So
ahead.
Kevin supported us. So thank you, Kevin.
with a direct donation. You can do a direct PayPal donation. It's on our website, or you can subscribe to Patreon, and we've got some new Patreon.
Yeah, but if you don't donate to us, you can still listen.
Yes,
this is not a paid podcast.
Apparently, people weren't available to get this on Google Podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
The Truck Podcast.
We need to fix that.
So we're working on it. If you're listening to it on Apple or on some of the other Spotify, we're working on getting it on Google. The Car Podcast is over there, but for some reason the Truck Podcast isn't. So we'll get it over there.
And our podcast is on YouTube.
It is on YouTube.
Also. So Taouf, thank you very much. I also have
It's
a
not
comment.
on TikTok, though.
No.
It's shot horizontally. You should put it on TikTok? That seems like a
no.
long.
The TikTok is short stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
We're talking for an hour.
We could just do little clips.
You know what Jacob just did?
What?
From patreon.com/TFL Car. Jacob just purchased, and it was delivered, his Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. He got a Glacier Blue one.
Did he get cruise control? Too early?
He doesn't talk about cruise control, but he does say he waited 6 months, Roman. 6 months for this truck. And he's very happy. He says, Andre, have you had any other problems with your truck? I'm considering swapping out the halogen headlights with LED bulbs. What would you recommend? So a couple things.
Ooh, that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
We've done that a lot. We've gone down that road a lot.
Yes. First of all, my reverse camera is not working. So
That's illegal. That's a mandated safety feature now.
Yes. So when
you're breaking the law.
Again,
Sorry, Andre.
why am I breaking so many laws?
Because you have to have a reverse camera nowadays.
Well, I have an appointment at the dealership.
Oh, were
So
you able to get an appointment?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, really. How long did it take?
It's 10 days. I made an appointment like 10 days ago. I mean, 3 days ago.
Did you have to use a TFL card, or were they just
No.
like they didn't know who you were?
No. I went to Johnson, of course, because that's our local Chevrolet dealership, and
Yeah.
Johnson Auto Plaza.
And
I said, can I get an oil change?
were you like, this is not Andre, not Andre Smirnoff. This is the guy who sounds like him. No.
No, I was
They
there.
know who you
I was
are.
there in person.
Oh God. Okay.
So I walked up because we were servicing the Trailhound.
Okay. So you walked into the service bay.
Yeah, I worked into the service department. I said, can I get my oil changed on my Chevy Colorado? They said, yes, bring it in now. And I said, but wait a minute, my rear camera is not working. And they said, oh, our technician is booked out 10 days. So I had to wait 10 days. So I'm not driving my truck right now. But
Tell them what you are driving. It is quite the vehicle. Let's play a game, okay? Let's have people guess what vehicle. And I will bet that you will not be able to guess unless you're a deep TFL fan what he's driving. So let's play a game. We'll do 10 questions.
okay.
All right. So I'll leave the most obvious one for last. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'll ask you 10 questions, and you say yes or no. All right.
Got it.
And then you guys can kind of narrow it down as we go down the chute of questions. So first question: is it stick or is it automatic? Now, keep in mind, I know what the car is, so I'm helping you guys play along.
It's an automatic.
All right. So we're narrowing it down. So it's not a stick. How many gears does the vehicle have?
4.
Ooh, that's a big hint.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, if it was an F-150, it'd probably have 10.
Yes.
Yes.
Or if it was a Jeep, it would have 8.
Yes. Does it tow, Andre?
No, it does not have a hitch and does not tow.
I think we just eliminated the entire truck world.
Correct.
All right. Does it have 4 seats?
Yes.
Does it have 4 doors?
No.
Ooh, so I think that's question number 4. Yeah, do it in 10 questions. All right, so we're getting warmer, huh?
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to come up with good questions that'll help people realize. Is it front-wheel drive?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. All right, front-wheel drive, 2-door, 4 seats,
Yes.
4-speed. That should give you a lot of. Is it made by an American manufacturer?
No.
Ooh. All right. Is it made by a European manufacturer?
No.
Is it made by a Japanese manufacturer?
Yes.
Ooh, so it's a Japanese front-wheel drive, 2-door, 4-seater with a 4-speed. Yes?
Uh-huh.
All right, here's one that's going to really give it away, I think. All right.
Yeah.
Is it a convertible?
Yes.
It's a convertible.
Yes.
All right. I'm trying to think if they would have gotten it by now. Let me keep going, okay? Can you buy it new?
No.
In other words,
No.
this
car does not exist right now
all right.
in a new world.
In the new world. So you think that's enough for them to take an educated
I think
guess?
they're very close.
So we won't say, but people can take a guess in the comments, and then we'll watch the comments, and if you get it right, we'll say yes, you got it right.
And if you've watched TFL for 10 years, you probably know this.
Yes.
If you have not, the convertible part probably helps you
Yes.
a lot. Okay.
There aren't that many Japanese 2-door convertibles with 4 speeds that are front-wheel drive, Andre.
No, not a lot. What about 4 seats?
4 seats, yeah,
Yes.
not a lot. Yeah, okay. All right, take a guess in the comments below, and we will watch the comments when this is obviously up on YouTube, and then we'll let the first person know with a big star and a smiley face or something.
Thank you. Now, Jacob asked about LEDs. So here's a couple things that I learned, because I've done LED bulb swaps for several vehicles. So the halogen bulb has a very unique pattern, right? So it shines in a certain way. And the manufacturer designs the kind of the chrome lens around it, right, in a very specific way in order to illuminate the way they want to illuminate.
Well, I mean, you don't want to blind oncoming traffic, so the lighting pattern has to be such that it's like a hockey puck, not a hockey puck, a hockey stick at the bottom, right? There's a curve. So if you're driving, think of it this way, there's a little bit of a hockey stick bend in the light pattern, so on the left side of the road, the light doesn't shine as far down the road as on the right side, because then you'll start blinding oncoming traffic.
Exactly, and when you swap LED bulbs, they may produce light.
Pattern.
Yeah, they change the pattern. So yes, you get brighter lights. You can get like wider, different color of light, right? But you may start blinding people because the pattern may change. So you have to be very careful in how you do that. I started to swap some bulbs. For example, my rear running lamps are now LEDs, which I feel good about because I want visibility in the back, and you're not blinding people. So I think the only great way to do it is actually to swap. They have on the higher end trucks, they have other
there's a
more
bunch
powerful lights.
Yeah, there's a bunch of problems. First and foremost, let me give you an example. We've got that Ram 2500 where he just did a great 20,000 plus mile update. So if you're interested in
yes,
how that did, go over there. But like that one, you have to remove the front grille, the wheel.
It's not easy to get to the bulbs.
Yeah, the wheel liners to get to the bulb, and then what happens with a lot of vehicles is because these are LEDs, they have to be cool, so there's a little fan, so you got to have room for the little fan, and then sometimes the truck will reject them because they don't draw enough power, and so the vehicle doesn't, the vehicle's designed to let you know if there's a burnt out bulb, and if it's not drawing enough power, it thinks that there's a fault,
a problem.
And so it's not as easy as you might think. By the way, Andre, let's talk about this. We kind of promised talking about it in the last episode, but we never did. So let's talk about this while you've got our Ram up there.
Sure.
Do we really need a diesel in a heavy-duty truck, or will a gasser do? That's really the question that a lot of people are asking themselves because they're expensive. Let's face it, diesels are give or take $10,000 on top of what the truck costs. And you've lived with this truck now for over 20,000 miles. It's got the Cummins, right? Do you think that we needed that Cummins, or would have that truck been just as good with the gasser?
I think for what we used it for, absolutely yes, we needed a diesel.
Okay, so what did we use it for that we needed a diesel?
So first of all, it's a year and a little bit old, so it's almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
And we put 21,000 miles on it already, and more every day. And it towed across, western United States many, many times.
Yeah, we towed a bunch of stuff to California. You towed your Buhanka down to Arizona.
Yeah. And even Grant towed to Salt Lake City.
Yes.
Right, and back. These are long trips. And on a long trip like this, you need range, right? You need fuel efficiency and comfort.
If you're watching, starting in August, we're going to be airing our Cheap Jeep series. We just towed 2 Jeeps, actually, to Moab using the Ram.
Yeah. So for our use case, long-distance towing, by the way, it has a trailer trip meter.
Yes.
So about 8,000 miles of those 21,000 were towing. So we towed not quite half of its life, but almost over a third of its life was towing.
So how much more towing capacity do you get when you step up to a diesel versus like the gasser version? So obviously there's a new Chevy with a 6.6 V8, right?
Sure.
That would be $10,000 cheaper than if you got the Duramax. So how much capability do you lose in general as a broad picture when you go from gas to diesel or vice versa?
You probably lose about 5,000 pounds of maximum towing capacity. But you know what? We almost never pushed our Ram Cummins to its limit. The trailer we towed to Moab was 9,500 pounds. The Ram Cummins is capable of 20,000 pounds of towing. So most of our use cases, we're actually towing half of its capability. So I would say that's not the deciding factor for me.
How about the exhaust brake? Is that worth the extra money?
I think so, because we live in a mountainous area. And because you don't want to overuse your brakes coming down with a trailer, coming down the mountain mountain highway. So the exhaust brake is a really great feature for that.
So how about the cost of maintenance? Because obviously a diesel mechanic is a lot more expensive than a non-diesel mechanic. What do you think about that? How much have we spent on maintenance? Obviously, you have to be more, I think, fastidious with oil changes in a diesel. You have to add DEF, of course, which adds to the expense. Is all that worth the extra, let's say, power you get or capacity you get?
And for our case, I would say yes.
Okay.
Our recent oil change was $168, my friend. That's, for a lot of you,
that's like 3 passenger cars.
Yeah. That's a lot of cost for an oil change. So first of all, the engine is big displacement, right? So it has a lot of oil in it, but also just just the sheer thing about this truck being huge, it costs more.
How about longevity?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, diesels are, all heavy-duty trucks have kind of longer lifespans.
Yes, the engine has a longer functional usage than the gas version.
Yeah, but I would say here's when you save money.
Okay.
And I've actually emailed a couple of people with this suggestion. You would save about $9,000 if you remove this Cummins from this truck, right?
Yes.
And put a Hemi, the 6.4 Hemi, into it.
Yes.
I would do it.
Power wagon don't care.
Yeah, get a Power Wagon. You would do it, I would say, when you're not towing long distance. Let's say you're towing twice a year, right? Your spouse and you decide to go to a lake about 200 miles away, and you tow something over there. Okay, that's fine. That's a gas truck for those types of things would be just fine. Also, if you have short trips, if you're using this truck to commute, if you're going 10 miles or so to work or and back, diesels hate that. Because diesel takes, like we said in the beginning, they take a long time to warm up, right? They need to be used and pushed to their limits to kind of get the best usage out of it. So
I also have to think, if you're looking at this on YouTube, AEV for that front bumper, that truck just looks magnificent. And thank you, Warren, for the 16,500 pound winch that we have on that truck, because that truck weighs about 9,000 pounds, if I'm not mistaken, right? Close to it.
It's about 8-ish now.
8-ish?
Yeah, so a little bit over 8.
So we have a winch on there that can actually, which is what you want,
double its weight.
Double its weight.
Yeah.
So I love the look of that. And if you were to take those light covers off on the external lights, they would be amber. It would be so cool. Because all of a sudden you get these 2 yellow eyes on the truck.
It's a cool truck.
It's a cool truck.
So I would say if you're not towing terribly long distances, if you're commuting in this truck, if you're carrying payloads, get a gas.
Yep.
You'll save maintenance costs. You will save initial cost. You will save many other things. And you have the sound of a V8.
Yeah.
That's a good sound.
Yeah.
It's
like, do you like vanilla or chocolate ice cream? They're both great, right? So the diesel also sounds great, but it's just really what's your favorite flavor. And there's, of course, this belief that diesels are more, gosh, for a better word, like manly, or I don't know. You know what I mean? They're more kind of bare-chested. Macho. I'm not necessarily sure that's true. They're certainly, more fuel efficient when it comes to the things that Andrew was talking about, right? You're going to save money on long-haul towing.
Yeah, like we got, well, I don't want to spoil everything, but, we got into double digits towing heavy on the highway, and a gas engine would not do that.
No.
But
a gas engine wouldn't get fungi? Is it algae or fungi? What grows in diesel tanks?
Probably algae.
Algae. I think algae.
Or it won't have a DEF problem.
Yeah.
DEF, diesel exhaust fluid.
Hey, I was talking to Justin, the guy where we did that video where he's got his house wired up so that if the power goes out, he has a spare generator.
Yeah.
And we were talking about like preppers and how they're storing gasoline and they're storing diesel. I'm like, hey guys, that stuff goes bad. It may be good for a year or two, but diesel's going to get. I think is it algae? It's either algae. Yeah, it's algae. Yeah, it's going to get algae, and gas is going to turn into basically varnish.
Yeah, especially gasoline with ethanol.
Yeah,
right. Ethanol additives.
I don't know if preppers think about that. Maybe you guys do.
I'm sure they think about everything.
So if you have some like if you have some gas at home, it's good to cycle through, right? Even if you have gas for like lawn care equipment.
Well, I guess you couldn't put stable products.
All right,
you could add something to it.
So instead of having 2 years, you get 3 years, right? It's not stable.
It's not going to last
10 years
or 20 years. No.
You're gonna end up with a lot of sludge.
But you know why we're getting more questions? I think gas versus diesel.
Why?
And it's not because diesel is expensive. I think it's because the gas engines are getting better. Over the last even over the last 3 years, the Godzilla Ford, the 7.3, the new 6.6 from GM, the new 8-speed automatic with the Hemi in a Ram, heavy duty. I think those gasoline combinations are getting so much better. Then some people are starting to question, why do I need a diesel when there's this gas truck?
Shouldn't the diesels also be getting better? I mean,
they are getting more powerful.
Is the delta between them changing?
I think the delta is getting closer because the gas engines are now towing more than ever before. And, they can have more payload because the diesel engines weigh a lot. So
all right. I think we've waited long enough. So let's transition into the main topic here, Andre. And this is actually a good point because we can cut to the chase. We've made you wait long enough. What segment of truck is not piling up at the dealership?
It is not heavy duty. Heavy duty is not piling up.
So tell them what you did, where we got these numbers and these facts so that they understand where this is coming from.
Well, I tried to sample our local dealer friends.
Yes.
Right. So over the years, we've built up relationships at several different places. So I called Brighton Ford, Colorado. I called Johnson Auto Plaza. I called Ken Garf. Ford as well, because my friend John at Ken Garf, he deals with commercial fleets, right? Because I was wondering, are cities and commercial customers are also affected by this, right? And he said, first of all, every commercial vehicle he gets snapped up in a matter of days.
Okay.
So commercial fleets, he said, are, at least right now,
robust.
They're buying. They need more vehicles because their fleets are aging, right? Their vehicles are aging, and they need new vehicles, and they're buying them a lot.
And we're talking about basic white trucks.
White trucks, white vans.
White vans.
We're talking about transit vans and ProMasters and all this stuff.
So if they tend to be the lower trim levels, right? So if it's a
little
Ford,
bit more affordable,
it's probably like an XT, right? Yeah, they're kind of the base entry level versions of any pickup out there.
So that's not
changing.
So if you want a basic van or a basic pickup truck, you're kind of out of luck because a lot of fleets and cities snatch those up, right? So that's kind of hard because I remember somebody emailed us and said they wanted a van for camping and they can't find one. They would go to many dealerships and none of them have vans. But the trucks that are more plentiful right now, and they're actually not, I wouldn't say piling up, but I would say they're, for example, at our local Brighton Ford, we have 59 F-150s.
Ooh, that's a lot. And are they discounting them?
Yeah, they are just starting to get discounted.
So kind of read me through some of the things that we're seeing. And keep in mind, this could be regional. So
absolutely.
We're not looking at national numbers. So your results may vary depending on where you live.
Remember when you and I were driving through Chicago?
Sure.
And you asked me, Andre, look around the streets.
What don't you see?
What don't you see? And I started looking, and I'm like, where are all the pickups?
Yeah, compared to out here or Texas or
If you drive around Boulder or Denver or Brighton, every other vehicle is a pickup truck.
It is, yeah. In Chicago, there's pickups, but a lot of them are work trucks.
Yeah, like plumbers or something else.
Here you'll see like everybody and their sister driving a truck. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, so our views is skewed, right? We're a little bit more truck country. But F-150 have half-ton trucks. So I'm seeing, for example, basic F-150s like STXs with $5,700 discounts. Sometimes they're discounted about $2,000. The higher you go in the trim level, for example, the fanciest trucks.
So the more money that's in them, probably the more money they'll
discount. Yeah. For example, I'm seeing an XLT with $9,000 of discounts. So that's pretty heavy discount, I would say, right now.
And I'm also seeing 1.9% APR, which is pretty amazing because interest rates are much higher.
Yeah. So maybe, but we're still not to pre-COVID levels.
Yeah.
So 59 trucks sounds like a huge number of trucks.
It's not.
But it's actually not.
Yeah.
Because before COVID, this would be like 200 trucks or 300 trucks on a lot.
Sure.
So
these big dealers just, have a lot of inventory.
They move a lot of stuff. So Johnson Auto Plaza, they do a lot of commercial work as well. So they sell a lot of work trucks, commercial vehicles. But let's look at 1500s. So Ram 1500. I've said before that they're not doing too well on sales, which is true.
Well, the problem with the Ram 1500 is the new truck is now the classic, and the classic is now
the double classic.
It's now the grandpa. We're beyond classic, right? They need to update their fleet.
And they're not bad trucks,
right? No, they're good trucks, but they're getting long in the tooth.
Because everybody else has been updated.
Yeah, Chevy's got the new Silverado. Ford's got a new F-150. Tundra is new, right? And well, Titan is Titan, the Rams are starting to show their age. Let's put it that way. And the classics are And actually, I like the classics. We owned a classic. It was a hoot.
Yeah. So here's a Ram 1500 Bighorn, which is kind of their basic trim levels, 4x4, $9,000 off, Roman. So some of these 1500s are also being discounted in the Ram space.
I also think it helps that like Johnson's and Brighton are across the street from each other. So like
they're fighting each other.
Yeah, like you walk in one and you're like, so what's the best deal you could do on, I don't know.
Because the guy across the street.
A Laramie, let's say. Yeah. Because the guy across the street
has a King Ranch.
Has a King Ranch, yeah.
So, no, anyway, so if you're looking right now at a pickup truck to buy, I would say look at the 1500s if you don't need a heavy duty. So if you're thinking about heavy duty or 1500, if you're not sure, if you don't need the capability of a heavy duty truck, take a look at the half-ton trucks, and you might get a really great deal, actually.
And how about mid-size trucks? Do we know anything about them? Because mid-size trucks are all new, right? So we know that you and one of our Patreons waited quite a number of months to get your Colorado. Mm-hmm. So I think that world is still too new to be kind of settled into a pattern. The new Ranger is just starting to come out.
Yeah, it's not on sale yet.
Yeah. And the Tacoma won't be out until probably closer to next quarter or longer.
Or like wintertime, approaching winter.
So there we might have a skewed market because they're not trucks that have been out for years at this point, but they're brand new, and when everything's brand new, of course, there's a lot of excitement, and people are willing to pay a lot to have the greatest and latest truck. Yeah,
so mid-size trucks are selling well. I heard this from multiple contacts that I called. For example, on a new, and I'm talking about 2023 Ford Ranger, not the next-gen Ranger, but the current Ranger. For example, here's a discount of $1,000. Here's another one, $1,000. There's a $300 discount with trade assistance of $1,000. So smaller discounts, fewer numbers, and also I was told the Maverick is selling still really, really well. And by that I mean there's not many on the lot.
Hey, how about the Ram midsize? Oh, never mind.
Nope. Well, you might be wondering about the Jeep.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean the Ram midsize truck. I meant the Jeep.
By the way, when is Ram going to have a midsize truck, if ever?
Oh, I don't know. They teased the heck out of the compact truck, right? Remember? And I think that may have been
Rampage.
Yeah, that may have been like a way to get that may have been like a Tesla move where you just do something that creates a lot of media attention, but will never be actually real, right? So what they did was they sent a lot of their maybe they had to do this anyway, North American executives down to Brazil when they unveiled the Rampage.
And I thought
that hidden strongly that maybe it's coming to North America and not just South America, or not just the Latin countries, because I think the Rampage is available in Mexico, right? I think you can get it in Mexico. Or a version thereof.
I think so, yes. Yeah. Or at least the new one is coming there. So look at the Gladiator, Roman. So I see 21 Gladiators here on this page, and some of them have discounts up to $6,000. So the Gladiator is having a little bit of a problem finding new owners. So that could be interesting.
To be fair, the Gladiators are expensive. I mean, I'm looking at the sport truck. They're asking almost $50,000 for the Sport.
I know, which is the base model.
Which is the base model. It's not even the Rubicon. So, I mean, it's always been, the top shelf of the Jeep world, but still, in the truck world, there's a Gladiator Rubicon at $56,000.
After discounts.
After discounts.
So it was almost $64,000 before the discount, so now it's $56,600.
So people always like to point to the electric truck, so let's not leave those off of the table. So obviously, the one that people are very curious about is a Lightning. How is the Lightning? Are the Lightnings not coming out? The Ford F-150 all electric. Does Johnson have it? I mean, does Brighton have any on the lot?
They do have two.
Okay.
They're both Platinums, so they're very super expensive.
How much?
And they're not selling. They're still there.
Yeah.
$100K.
Yeah, that's not going to sell. That's just not going to sell.
No, a half-ton truck at $100K, it's basically a toy.
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people can afford this $100,000
I think it's the extended range, right?
Yeah.
And
Full. Yeah.
Ford just dropped the price $10K on the Pro. Did that also affect the?
It was supposed to,
Yeah.
but I'm only seeing about $1,500 off here and another assistance of about $2,500 here. So I don't know what's going on with this.
We had a Lightning. I think it's an exceptional truck. My only rub that I could say against it, my only thing is the range is not what Ford states it is in Colorado when it's cold, and I think people know that. But it's under batteried compared to the Hummer AV that we also had. It just needs more battery, especially if you're towing in Colorado. But having said that, $100K for that truck is just insane. Sorry, it's just insane. It's not a $100K truck. I think a more realistic price would be $70K if you wanted to sell them. I think you're going to have to drop it substantially to start competing, because there's a lot of downsides to it, right? Cross-country tripping it is no bueno. We did it all the way to Dead Horse, Alaska. It was not easy.
It was an insane project.
Yeah. So when you're talking about a $100,000 truck compared to like I don't know, how much would a comparable F-150 that's not electric cost? What would you compare that to? What trim level?
Our XLT, the one we had?
No. Like a platinum. Well, I guess you could compare it to a platinum F-150 gas. How much less would that be?
I would say $20K less.
So $80K for a platinum F-150?
Yeah, without the hybrid, without the electricity.
Right. Yeah. I just don't see somebody walking into a dealership and saying, I'm going to pay $20,000 more for the electric truck. It'll never pay for itself at that number. It just won't unless you keep it your whole life.
You just have to be focused on electricity if you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So I learned something at Brighton Ford. I learned that the hybrid is not selling very well.
Yeah, we saw that too. Autoblog just came out with a poll saying that the hybrid is the only Ford pickup that's actually selling below sticker.
Yes. So, for example, here's a couple of them at $9,000 off original MSRP. And I find that interesting because I loved mine. I had an F-150 hybrid.
Well, I mean, the best part of it was that onboard power.
Oh, my goodness.
That was so useful.
Yeah. So, here's a hybrid Lariat, $10,000 off.
Well, let's face it. I mean, the hybrid got you not necessarily much better fuel economy, but a lot more power.
Yes, but also better fuel economy in the city. I saw
Driving
really
around,
great in the city. On the highway, no. On the highway was about the same as a non-hybrid. And I think some of the reasons for why people are cautious about this are they still don't know if they can resell a hybrid down the road.
Yeah,
right.
They're worried about the battery.
They're worried about the battery, even though this battery is not very big.
And this is not a plug-in hybrid. It's
just
a standard hybrid that Toyota's been building since the first Prius.
Which is, 3 decades now?
Yeah, I mean, the technology has been pretty much figured out and sorted. I don't know if you should be worried about it. I think it's a very small battery, and it basically just kind of fills in some of the gaps that, does cool things like at the stop-start, you don't have to bake because your air conditioner turns off, right? It keeps the air conditioner running.
And it's very smooth, right? Because electricity helps you
it fills in
moving.
Those gaps, yeah.
So I really enjoyed my hybrid.
You love that thing.
They also had an 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty on the electrical components of the hybrid. So I think there's a lot to like. But if you want a hybrid Ford or maybe even a Tundra, because Tundra also has a hybrid, then that might be a good time to look for one.
What are you seeing with Tundras? Where are they at?
It's kind of interesting. Toyota, they do things a little bit differently, where they allocate certain colors and certain trim levels to different regions, and they don't have any discounts. I'm here at Mountain States Toyota, which is a kind of a local place, and I see 0 discount. Maybe they're not communicating this.
They're still new. I mean,
they're new.
They came out basically last year.
Their new MSRP prices are listed. They're not listing discounts. And also Tacoma, same thing, no listed discounts. And they have a lot of them, but they sell a lot of them, Roman. They sell a lot of Tacomas here.
So people always accuse us of forgetting the Rivian. I don't know.
We don't forget about it.
We don't forget about the Rivian. We like the Rivian. I just did a video where I kind of compared the Raptor R to the TRX, and people were like, "Hey, the Rivian will kill both of them." And I'm like, "It's not a full-size truck, but this is maybe a subtle thing that us here at TFL, a trap we fall into. Maybe people out there love to compare, a tweener truck to a full-size truck. But besides that, what's Rivian doing?
I don't know what they're doing.
They just came out with their 2-motor version.
Yeah,
as opposed to the 4-motor.
And actually, we may have an opportunity to test them.
Really?
Soon.
How much is it? Go to their website. How much is a 2-motor? Are they selling it? Is it up? Are they available?
I think so. I think so. I can.
So how much cheaper is a 2-motor version?
By the way, I'm glad they're doing this. I'm glad they're moving from the 4-motor original system.
I don't think you need 4 motors. I think it's 2 motors too many. You're going to get all-wheel drive. You can lock it up with electronic means. You don't need to have a motor on each wheel. It's kind of.
I mean, it's cool. It's powerful. Yeah. Everything is very nice. But I don't think you need it. I agree.
Enter your email address to get started, Andre.
Why? Rivian.
You don't want to put that up there. People will see that.
Well, people know my address. It's okay.
Do they? All right.
It's okay.
Just put put info at TFL Truck.
We're all friends.
Yeah.
We're all friends here.
Until
we're not friends?
Info at TFLtruck.com. Go for that one.
No,
we're not creating.
I don't want to sign up.
We don't want to create an account. Come on. Oh, come on. Really?
Continue.
You copy everything else from Tesla. Have you been to their website? You don't need to create any account. You just go and see what the cars are, which ones are in inventory, and which ones.
Yeah, and then create an account.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I believe they're significantly more affordable, the 2-motor versions.
Well, we can't find out. Because
I can't. No. And you might be asking about General Motors.
Yeah.
They're having trouble building them. They're not selling any Hummers. They're not building or selling a lot of Silverados.
This year, last time they had a public. We should have kept ours. It might be worth some money now. There's only 68 of them running around the world.
So here's the thing. So the dual motor performance versions of the Rivian have longer range.
Yeah.
They're a little bit slower.
Yeah.
They have less horsepower and torque, but still 3.5 seconds 0 to 60 in a dual motor performance
versus 3 seconds.
Versus 3 seconds, or regular dual motor system 4.5 seconds. So that's still an insane acceleration for a pickup truck.
So I love that graph, but it doesn't have pricing.
Yes, we don't have pricing.
We don't have pricing.
So anyway, I'm glad they're doing 2 motors.
Why? Are you sure there's no way to get pricing without having to create an account?
I'll just Google it.
Okay, just Google it.
So
let's see what this starts with. As you can see, we've done our homework here, gentlemen.
Well, we forgot about them.
Yeah, well, we didn't forget.
We didn't forget about it because we're talking about volume stuff. F-150 is the most popular vehicle.
I think Rivian last time I read had sold 50 or close to 50,000 units.
Well, that's their goal.
Yeah, or that was their goal. Maybe it was less than. Maybe it was like 30.
The cheapest. Oh my gosh, the cheapest dual motor model starts at 74,800. That's expensive.
So that kind of gives you an idea of where the Cybertruck is going to come in.
Yeah,
I think.
That's an indication where
I can't see Rivian selling their R1T for 74 or 75 basically, and then Tesla kind of merrily going and introducing it at 39. I just don't think that number is going to be real.
It says here that performance version of the dual motor will start at 92,000. And
makes that Silverado work truck look reasonable.
That $70,000 work truck now is.
You get like a 230 kilowatt hour battery.
Is amazing.
Yeah. Maybe that's what the GM product planners are looking at when they're when they're designing how much to sell these things for. Look, in the car world, time on lot is a good indication of how well things are selling. And right now, the time on lot for electric vehicles is basically double that of internal combustion engine vehicles. And I think the same thing is probably being reflected in the truck world as well. So I think we're living through a time, and I understand your Barbie analogy, Andre.
Was that a good one, or?
I don't know. I mean, like apparently Mission Impossible isn't very popular, so I don't know what.
But Barbie is.
But what you take away from that? That's also a crazy movie with a lot of stunts and expensive production. I don't know, but let's put those aside.
Yeah.
But you know, I can't help but feel that there is going to be a serious correction of price, and I know it takes more energy, and it takes more money, and it takes more, let's say, rare earth minerals to build an electric car. So there's an argument to be made that it should be more expensive. But right now, I think the price is so out of whack with what people are willing to pay for it that I think there's going to have to be some kind of let's just say, a reckoning of the market.
I would agree.
A straightening of the market, you know,
but
correction.
But I think the indication, if the trucks are piling up,
Yeah.
I mean, real indication, I think will be a dramatic fall in used vehicle pricing. And some of my contacts at the dealerships also echoed that comment, that if you see a tremendous decrease in used vehicle pricing, that means there is a lot of stuff.
Well, it's residuals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you release something, they guess at the residual price. And when the residual price goes below a certain number, then, of course, it creates all kinds of problems as well.
Our friends at Inside EVs say
Yes.
that quad motor Rivian is about $8,000 more than the dual motor.
So you're talking 80 plus thousand.
Yeah, so you're saving $8,000.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair thing. I think most people don't need four motors to drive to work.
You know, I think it would be smart if the manufacturers decided to build more of a modern, and this is a little bit of a dichotomy of terms, but more of a modern classic truck. You know, like I think the problem with the Ram Classic is it's just been out too long. At some point, people just get bored.
Do you want
of it.
roll down windows?
No, I don't want roll down windows, but I want a basic truck, and you can easily separate autonomy and technology from the truck. You don't have to bundle it all into one. So just a basic, honest truck, priced at an honest price.
Yeah.
Right? I think would do really, really well right now. Mid-size, definitely. Maybe this will be the year of the Tacoma, because you know we went to the Tacoma rollout, and it seems like they've figured that out. Like for a long time, Toyota got a lot of. And by the way, that's a hint of something else. Anyway, Toyota got. You can figure out what that is. Toyota figured out that maybe people aren't yet ready for all-out electric vehicles, and they got a lot of crap for it. But maybe they were not, you know, ahead or behind, but right on time with that. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, time will certainly tell. But it seems like there's a backlash against electric vehicles, and there certainly is a backlash against the price of electric trucks.
And even hybrids, there is a little bit of backlash too.
And hybrids too.
Yeah, in trucks. And I would agree with you if they gave a person a steering wheel, 4 seats, 4-wheel drive, and a bed. That's what a truck is.
Yeah.
So,
and just make it work, make it honest, and don't give it crazy stuff like yokes. We don't want yokes. I think most truck people do not want a yoke. I'm always amazed at like the reception that Tesla got when they stuck a yoke in the Model S and the Model X, right? And then not too long after that, some of the other legacy manufacturers are like, Lexus, here, you can have a yoke on your. Like, no,
sure.
don't take the good ideas. Don't take the bad ideas. Take the good ones.
Yeah. No, and the Tacoma is coming, like you said, the new one, and they have like 8 different trim levels.
Yes.
Right? They have mind-boggling amount of choices.
I think there'll be a Tacoma in the 30s, don't you?
I think there has to be.
Yeah.
Well, the Colorado starts at like 31.
Yeah, so they'll definitely
the Tacoma has to start at 31.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not competitive.
Yeah, this might be the beginning of. Here's the thing, right? Mid-size trucks now are as big as full-size trucks, so maybe we're seeing a shift also into more mid-size truck range, because now the full-size trucks have gotten as big as heavy-duty trucks, which is a little crazy but true.
Yep. Well, there you have it. So that's the real answer. I don't know if we've muddied the water, but hopefully you understand that it's also geographical, right?
Yes.
So it's region by region. So we live in kind of a trucky country here in Colorado. So if you live in Chicago, things may be very different for you out there.
And if you live in Dallas, they may be even more different.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, this is Roman.
And Andre.
Saying go to alltfl.com if you want to check out our latest and greatest videos. We're starting our video series this week, a cheap Jeep series, which I'm looking forward to. Andre, Nathan, and Tommy went and bought 3 Jeep Jeeps, and then we modified them and took it to Moab. So that was a lot of fun, except for the fact that it was 106 when we were Moab.
Yep, it's hot. It was hot.
I'll give you a hint. Tommy didn't have air conditioning. Wah, 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 but you did, Andre. All right, so stay tuned for that. And next time, I think Nathan will be back. Sorry, Nathan.
We'll see you next time.